Hi, and welcome to another episode of It's Just Racing, hosted by Jim and Jim. I'm Jim,
And I'm Jim.
and I'm here to talk about racing.
Well, I have a little bit to say. I'll start out right away. MotoGP was back. They were at the Red Bull Ring, and as usual, Marc Marquez took the victory, his ninth of the season. And this is where you start to get into the territory of talking about him sealing up the championship well before it's over. I think they have 9 races left, and he's got a 132-point lead over his brother. And with MotoGP, where they've got the sprint race and then the main race every week, maximum is 37 for a weekend. So that means he's got more than a 3-race lead already.
That's a big lead.
It is. He's pretty good.
Is his brother older or younger?
Pretty sure he's younger.
Figures. Older brother beating up on the younger brother like that. That's just not nice. Alright, moving on to the roundy rounds. We had the Craftsman trucks at Richmond. Corey Heim on the pole. I can't believe it. It's like his 934th pole this year. He and Ty Majeski started front row and they pulled away. Heim had really good restart speed and Majeski had more of a long run setup. So about lap 18, Ty Majeski took the lead, pulled out to a 5-second lead over Corey Heim, who was like 15 seconds ahead of third, and Ty Majeski won the caution-free first stage, lapping up to 11th place. It was fun. It was the kind of race we like. No crashes, no silliness.
Now imagine if there weren't cautions at the stage. Then it would be a really great race.
He would have lapped the field. At one point, Caden Honeycutt clinched his playoff spot with the stage points earned in the first stage. Corey Heim led to start stage 2. There were a couple minor cautions, 2 truck incidents, nobody wrecked out or anything, not worth mentioning. And then some different pit strategies came into view. Some guys were trying to go long, some guys were like, I need tires every 30 laps. Whatever they did this weekend, I had heard that they had a softer tire on the right side than the left side, so we would have tire degradation. But whatever Goodyear did, they need to do it every single track because it just made it so much more interesting. So Corey Heim restarted in the lead after the second little caution. Ty Majeski restarted 8th after pitting for tires. Heim did not. And the new tires proved to be a huge advantage. 5 laps later, Ty Majeski had the lead and won stage 2. Stage 3 started with Heim and Majeski on the front row again. They were by far the best 2 trucks out there. Heim got the initial lead. After a few laps, Majeski took it and just drove away. Green flag pit stop started. And Matt Crafton, not sure who was dumping what on the track. Crafton got into some oil. I had heard it was rear end lube. I don't know. I've never seen that much gear lube come out of something from all the shiny spots on the track, but he got into that and slid up the track and hit Majeski, spun them both out, caused some damage to Majeski's truck. Luckily for Ty, he had left so many trucks and had such a lead, he ended up restarting on the second row anyway after getting wrecked. So, now I'm going to editorialize a little bit. It's the last race before the playoffs. So, every spot's important, right?
Yeah.
So why the hell are guys that aren't running for points in there? Sammy Smith, who had no business being in the race. Xfinity was off. So they're like, hey, let's put Sammy Smith in a truck. They put Sammy Smith in a truck and he started off leading the next stage.
Now, I have something to add to this because I believe once the playoffs start, drivers can't drop down like that. Is that right?
I thought it was like the last 2 races before the playoffs, but obviously my thought was wrong.
Well, I think for sure it's during the playoffs. And so I don't have a problem with the drivers doing that because we both want to see, someone break the system because it's a dumb system. So I don't have a problem with the drivers doing that. Because it'll mess with the truck playoffs, but we don't agree with the playoffs to start with. So I just personally don't have a problem with it.
But they are what they are, and you have to play within the rules. And I just think it's stupid to allow people to get in there when it matters. So Sammy Smith was leading. Corey LaJoy. I don't hate Corey LaJoy. I kind of like Corey LaJoy. He was driving like a complete freaking moron. I don't know if he's just trying to show off. Hey, look, I'm still good. Driving in his new truck. I don't remember who he drives for now. I don't know. He got somebody got fired, and Corey LaJoy's in their truck now, and he was trying to be cool, and he just beat the hell out of Ty Majeski, caved the whole rear end in. I don't know what he was trying to do.
He's fresh off the kickball circuit.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, he needs to get kicked in the balls because that was just some stupid driving. So he beat out Majeski until he was a complete non-factor from all the damage. Corey Heim got the lead with about 20 to go, took it back from Sammy Smith, and he drove off to his 7th victory of the year, which is a new Truck Series record. He also set the record for the most laps led and the most points. And then 2 meaningless records, in my opinion: the most playoff points, the most stage points, and the most stage wins. So the Truck Series playoffs are set. Corey Heim's in first, Lane Riggs second, Chandler Smith third. Daniel Hemrick, who I had no idea he was having that consistent of a year, because I didn't even know he was in the playoffs, and he's fourth.
Well, he had a win, and he's been, a top 10 truck. Nothing really flashy. I think that it was a good move to drop down to the Truck Series, probably where he belongs.
So Hemrick's fourth, Tyler Ankram's fifth, my guy Ty Majeski's in sixth, Grant Enfinger seventh, Raja Caruth eighth, Caden Honeycutt in his third different truck of the season made the playoffs in ninth, and Jake Garcia in lucky number 13 is the last truck in.
Now I think the first round they just eliminate the bottom 2 trucks.
Correct.
I think we were in agreement on who those would probably be. I was thinking probably Jake Garcia. He really got lucky at Stuart Friesen's expense of getting into the playoffs. I think he'll be out. He hasn't really done much this year, and Thor Sport's really struggling. And Raja Caruth, he had a win early on, and he's not really done much since then.
He has, and Caden Honeycutt's hot. He's doing well. Enfinger's just... he's always there. So, yeah, I think we definitely agree. Raja Caruth and Jake Garcia will probably be the first ones out. It will be a complete travesty if Corey Heim does not win this championship. It should be like his 94th championship in the trucks.
Yeah, before they reset the points and all, he had like a 190-point lead over seconds.
It's nuts. So Corey Heim needs to win the Truck Series playoffs. One final note from the trucks. It was announced Monday. Matt Crafton will be retiring from full-time truck racing at the end of the season after 23 years. He and Menards have been together for 23 years, which I read. I don't know that I believe it, but I saw it from multiple sources. But that's the longest that a driver and primary sponsor have been together ever in NASCAR. And just thinking of Richard Petty in the STP truck, and I don't know, STP truck, yes, because Richard Petty drove in the Truck Series. But I don't know, that's a long time for a sponsor and a driver. But he is gone, and Ty Majeski will be moving to the 88 Menards truck. Now, I like that because Ty Majeski is a Wisconsin guy. Menards is a Wisconsin-based company. It just makes sense. My only concern is Ty Majeski actually moving to the 88 truck, or are they just wrapping the 98 truck in the 88 Menards livery? Because the 98 team, in my opinion, is a lot better than the 88 team, and then I just would hate to see him take a step back because of this so-called promotion.
I would imagine he keeps his crew chief and stuff.
I would hope so, because he's got the
Wasn't his
the
crew
best
chief Joe
team
Shear Jr.?
Yeah.
He's a Wisconsin guy.
Another Wisconsin guy. So you kind of need to keep these Wisconsin guys together because we are great. Xfinity. The Xfinity series was off this week, but a little bit of news. NASCAR did sign a new title sponsor for the series, so the Xfinity series will be no more. Starting next year, it will be the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts series. So I don't know if we're going to call it the No Apps or the O'Reilly series or what we're going to call it.
I still think of it as the nationwide series.
See, for me, it's the Busch series. But O'Reilly Auto Parts is paying a ton of money, so I will call it whatever they will want me to call it.
I mean, they're not paying us.
No, they're not. O'Reilly Auto Parts is probably one of the best as far as supporting racing. Back a long time ago when I was attempting to reopen the Calumet County Fairgrounds, the racetrack there, O'Reilly Auto Parts reached out to me and they wanted to sponsor the track. I didn't even have to ask them. So they help out a lot, small tracks as well as big ones, so that's appreciated. Moving on to the Cup Series. The unnamed Cup Series. I wonder if Xfinity is going to move up to the Cup Series so they can all say, my car was as fast as Xfinity Internet. Anyhow, the unnamed Cup Series was at Richmond. Ryan Preece with a surprising pole position. He also led the majority of the first stage as, just like in the truck race, different strategies and pit cycles kind of worked their way into the race. Tyler Reddick won the caution-free first stage. God, I love saying the caution-free stage. Followed closely by his teammate Bubba Wallace and team owner Denny Hamlin. It was kind of weird. There was a little Toyota parade there, and it just happened to be two 2311 cars and then Mr. 2311 himself. Then Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and AJ Allmendinger were all penalized for different pit infractions while pitting during the stage break. Bubba Wallace had the lead to start stage 2, and just like the first stage, the pit stops were all over the place. Ryan Preece retook the lead after everyone pitted. Austin Dillon got the lead on his fresher tires, only to be passed by Tyler Reddick a few laps later, who had fresher tires than Austin Dillon. And then the second round of green flag stops began. There was a caution during the pit cycle, which screwed some people up as Daniel Suarez ran out of talent. Guess what? That's why he's not racing next year. He hit Ty Gibbs, who slid up and hit Tyler Reddick and spun him into the wall. Kind of sucked for Reddick because he was definitely a top 5 guy. Then, I feel like I say this every week, what happened?
Things got stupid.
Then things got stupid. This was a fantastic race to watch up until now. I'm big into the, like Jim here, big into strategy and, thinking and using your brain and having to come up with different things and trying different things. And, what they say, if you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. People trying different stuff. So it was a great race. I would, at this point, I would say it was probably the best race of the season up until now. So, yeah. Bubba Wallace led the restart. Then there was another caution 2 laps later. Let me hit the rewind button. I'm just kidding. It's not the rewind button. Bubba Wallace led the restart. And then there's another caution 2 laps later. This one was worse because Kyle Busch, I don't know what he's doing. Kyle, I love you. Maybe it's time to retire, spend some more time with Samantha. She's smoking hot, make some more kids. I don't know, bro. First he hit Ross Chastain, then he hit Chase Briscoe, then he hit Chase Elliott, ultimately involving 12 cars in this melee. It was just ridiculous. It was stupid.
Maybe he was taking the job of RCR pinball machine, so Austin Dillon didn't have to this year.
I guess, yeah. So,
and we're big Kyle Busch fans here. You can see, if I move the camera a little, we've got his poster on the wall. Big Kyle Busch fans. But
Yeah, I don't know. It's something happened there, and he's had a shit season, and I don't know what's going on, but we do love you, Kyle. Just not at that moment. Um, that would be Chase Elliott's first DNF of the season. That's just crazy to think that he's finished every race. He had finished every single lap except one. He was one lap down at some point. So he had finished every lap in this season up until Kyle Busch. So what that did was that secured the regular season championship for William Byron, who's his teammate, so I'm sure Elliott was still happy, and they went out and had slushies. Restart with 17 to go on the stage, and Bubba Wallace had the lead and won stage 2. Start stage 3, Austin Dillon was back in the lead. Led till the green flag stopped, started around 120 laps to go. Kind of funny. Bubba Wallace, they didn't even try to put the left front tire on. They put the wheel on, and he was driving away before the dude even got the ratchet in there. It was hilarious. So Bubba's gone. The wheel falls off. He comes to a stop in Briscoe's pit, and the racing gods were watching, and his tire just followed him along, just bouncing along right behind him. And he slows and he stops in Chase Briscoe's pit, and his tire hits the back of the car and just lays down. So guys in Briscoe's pit, being another Toyota team, jacked the car up, put his wheel on for him. He was able to continue, didn't have any penalties or anything, but he did lose enough time that he was no longer a factor in the race. Carson Hocevar, Ryan Blaney, and Austin Dillon all led laps throughout the final third of the race, and through another green flag pit cycle. Austin Dillon, he was on. He didn't have to do anything stupid. He did not wreck Joey. He did not wreck your favorite driver who beat your favorite driver. Austin Dillon won, legit for real, won this time at Richmond, which locked the 25th place driver into the playoffs.
We do have to talk a little bit about that, because now 23rd, 24th, and 25th in points are all in the playoffs, in Josh Berry, SVG, and Austin Dillon. And that puts the people who are in the top 16 in points, but are out of it at the moment.
There's just one race left.
Yeah. So it's Chris Buescher, I think, is in the 11th or 12th. Ryan Preece is in like 14th, and Kyle Busch would be 16th, but all three of those are out with those winners.
Yeah, so, well, it'll be Daytona. It'll be interesting either way. Also, a couple hours before we recorded here, the 2026 Cup schedule was released. I didn't have time to go over it. I glanced at it. There were a few things that did stick out to me. The final race of the year will be back in Miami at Homestead Speedway. North Wilkesboro will now be a real race, not a goofy race. So North Wilkesboro will matter. But the dumbest shit I've ever seen, Dover will not be a real race. It's going to be, and the All-Star race will be at Dover. The Monster Mile, one of the coolest tracks. It's been a NASCAR regular every year track since 1969. And the Monster Mile will no longer be a points-paying race. It will be a host of the stupid silliness that they call the All-Star race. That's a complete joke, in my opinion. What say you, Jim?
I never watched the All-Star race, so I don't
either
know. But I am familiar with Dover, and I think they'll be missing out on some good racing.
And kick-ass trophy.
Yeah. It is a nice trophy.
Yep. Miles, is that the monster? I believe that's his name.
That would make sense.
So that sucks. NASCAR, you screwed the pooch on that one. Yeah, it's just a joke. And they added Chicagoland Speedway back. on 4th of July weekend when they should be at Road America, but we'll have another 1.5-mile cookie cutter track that got closed down because nobody went to it.
Hey, you know a place where people do go to?
Where?
Road America. I've heard people go there.
That's a nice little place. Just, what, an hour and a half from Chicago?
Yeah.
You won't get killed, and it's a nice track.
Yeah.
But hey, we got another 1.5-mile cookie cutter piece of crap racetrack in Chicagoland back. And they also added a parking lot race in San Diego. Can't call it a street race. Can't call it a road course. It's like an Air Force base or something.
I have no comments on San Diego.
It's really a... I heard San Diego's a lovely place. I've never been there. I'm the only one who hasn't been there.
I've seen memes about NASCAR and their track choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
We have a world-class facility.
I won't comment on San Diego until we see the race.
I will. They should be a Road America, not in San Diego.
Now, before you keep going, I do want to say, with the championship race, moving back to Homestead, I personally like that decision. I know Phoenix, the first couple of years they did it, when they laid down that resin or whatever on the top groove to make it more of a good race. The racing was real good, but then the last couple of years, it's been kind of after stage one, the track goes away, and whoever's winning ends up winning. And Homestead has really come back the last couple of years. It's been really close racing, lots of different strategies, and so I'm glad to see that back for next year.
Yeah, there's some good stuff, but there's some real stinkers. We'll just say it that way. You got anything else?
For next week, I'll have some more things to report on. IMSA, the GT classes only, are racing at VIR down in Virginia. So probably only like 24 to 28 cars, but it'll be close racing. I might watch it, I might not. I'm a big prototype guy, but there's some GTs that I cheer for as well. That's about all from my camp.
And then Xfinity and Cup are at Daytona. The trucks are off as they get ready for the playoffs. And IndyCar is at the Milwaukee Mile for the Snap-on 250. Unfortunately, I won't be there because I'll be moving my daughter back to college that day. So that's all we've got for you, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.